Hi everybody, this is an introduction on how to do a pin map. So if you already know how to do a pin map, this can be considered a reminder. And if you don't know, welcome to Pin Maps. So when you have your pin map, this is what you're going to have. You're going to have this wooden board. This is the pin map. You're going to have this thin plastic map that has all of the names that you're going to use on it. And you're going to have a box. We're working with South America, you might have something different. Inside your box, there will be a bunch of little flags. And the little flags are very pointy on the end. So make sure that you're aware of that when you're doing this work. It's important to make sure these don't end up on the floor because someone could hurt themselves. And it is also important, especially to take care of our nice materials, that when you're putting a flag into the map, you aim for the hole really carefully. Because if you're careless or get distracted and start squiggling around, the pokey end of the pin can scratch up the paint on our pin map and make it not very beautiful anymore. So let's try and keep this material nice by working with it carefully. When you look at the pins, you're going to need a tray of some sort. You might use a piece of cloth, you might use a baking sheet, you might use part of a cardboard box, whatever you have at home that will work for you. I'm using this tray. The flags are different colors depending on what sort of thing they describe. So blue flags describe water features. This one says the Pacific Ocean. This one says the Uruguay River. So blue is going to be anything water, oceans, lakes, rivers. Green is the names of countries. This one says Argentina. Red gives us the names of the capitals of those countries and sometimes other important cities too. And yellow is mountain ranges and other landforms. Some sets will have white flags as well, and those are often for islands and island chains. To start this work, you're going to decide which color of flag you want to work with first. I wouldn't recommend working with all of them when you start. So let's say you wanted to do the country's names. That's a great place to start. You would begin by sorting all the green flags out into your tray and putting all the other flags away. We're going to just use 2 for our example because you don't need to see me do the entire work. Please put the lid back on the box as soon as you're done with it because little bits of dusty things get in there and then it's a lot of work to clean it out. All right. The first time you do this work, you might like to have your things just here with you. You might like to have the answers and the pin map together. If you prefer, putting the answers part across the room is a really good way to get your body moving and a really good way to engage your brain. If you don't choose to do that the first time, as you get a little more experienced, definitely choose to put your map with the answers on it somewhere further away from you. If you have someone at home that you can work with who can read, you might have them kind of quiz you by saying, find the pin that goes in Brazil and have you do it. But if you're on your own, you can just use the map across the room. So you can either choose to find a location and then look for its pin, or find a pin and look for its location. Let's do that way. This pin says Argentina. Now, let's assume I've never worked with South America before and I don't know where Argentina is. I'm going to need to look through all these words to find Argentina. Let's see. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, now I need to hold in my brain the idea of where this Argentina word is and transfer over to this map where the pins go and figure out where to put the pin. This is when it's beautiful to have this across the room because you have to hold that information in your brain and it's going to make you remember so much better. So let's see. Okay, Argentina is kind of next to where there's a blob in the coastline and there's a river that runs mostly south and then curves to the east under it. Let's find that on our pin map. Okay, there's the blob. Here's the river that runs mostly south and then to the east a little, and there's a hole. Notice how some of the holes have red around them and some do not. The ones with red around them are for capitals and cities. Since we're doing a country, we know we don't want a red one. So if I got a little confused and had to choose between these two, I would know that I'd want the one that isn't red. Okay, Argentina is here. Let's try another one. This is Colombia. Oh, I see it right there. That's kind of a crowded area. That might be a little challenging. Let's see. There's a river that runs right below it, and then a river that looks like it starts right in Colombia. Okay, let's look over here. Oh, there's the river that runs above. There's the river that goes right towards where the word is. All right, that's Colombia. And if you look on the map, you can see that these brown lines trace the outline of Colombia for you. Right there. So Colombia is the country in this space. It's the one that connects to the part of Central America that continues on upward and connects into North America. While doing this work, you would keep going until either you had done all of the flags or you got to the point where you felt done for the day, and then you could pack it up and try another day. When you try on a new day, it's great to ask yourself, which ones can I do without looking at the map? So if I came back the next day and saw Argentina again, I might remember, oh, that's right there, and be able to put that pin in without checking. You'll know you've got this work completely on lockdown when you can put all the pins in and just use this to check your work at the end. That's when you're ready to say, Katie, I need a new pin map, or start working on the rivers or the mountains or the cities, some part that you haven't done before. There are a couple, well, many extra things you can do with this work. When you get the pin map to borrow from our classroom, you will also have a paper map. Some people like to practice either after they've finished with the pin map or at the same time, writing the names of the countries inside of them. So we know that Argentina was right here, I would write Argentina. And we know that Colombia is this one, I would write Colombia. You might like to look up the flags online or in an atlas and color the background of each country with its little flag in it. That could be really interesting. Maybe once you're done working with the pin map for a while, you'd like to try and draw the rivers onto here. It isn't exactly the same size, so you couldn't just trace it. You'd want to think, all right, Amazon River starts here, and do your best to map them out. You could also do the mountains. The little tiny speckles on the map here show us where a mountain range is. If you can think of another way to follow up with this that involves working with the names of the countries or the rivers or the mountains that are in this continent of South America, it is probably an awesome work. But if you're not sure, feel free to send me a note and ask me, Kate, does this feel like a reasonable way to follow up from this? So you are officially ready to work with a pin map. Remember, keep good track of these pins. They're easy to lose. And watch out for where the stabby bits. Have a wonderful time. And when you feel like you are completely done with your pin map, let me know and we can trade it out for a different one. And if I ask for it back before you feel completely done, that's okay. That just means someone else needs a turn and you can have a different pin map for a bit. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you around.